Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for Friday, the 24th of July. All right, halfway through, at least through the Asian session. Now, just looking at where those US equities sort of finished the day, down sort of over 1%. That's sort of something to talk about, a bit of a risk-off situation, and that's what we're sort of seeing across the yen and the yen crosses, right? There's a little bit of, I was going to say, risk-off activity. We are coming up to the weekend. There's been huge amounts of weird news over the weekend, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of profit taking as well as we come into this. What's been sort of moving things around? Well, I'll tell you what, the Dow has been coming into play. Aussie yen, Kiwi yen, once again, the clear risk-off profile prevalent. You can also see the dollar index sort of chiming in there as well, but it's sterling yen. So what I'm focusing on is the instruments that are correlating whether positive or negatively, especially over 90%, right? They're pairs you should be focusing on. So I'd expect that negative tone in the equity markets. It is, coming across into the Asian equities, but not as significant. Chinese equities, obviously Japan on holidays. The Singaporean equities just getting really touched up. And I think that's more to do with obviously the big stoush that's coming between Donald and China, right? So if I just come back to, I'll just give you a quick look at the news. It's dominated by US Chinese tensions, and this is only going to increase, I think, as we get close to the US election. China orders US to shut Chengdu consulate. Okay, tit for tat retaliation. You got to expect that to continue. And as I said, most of the news here is about China, right? So, and we've seen that safe haven trade kick in again very quickly now. Just to give you a quick look at what the dollar index is doing itself. Okay, it's still drifting lower, right? But the yen has been woken up with this US-China tension. Dollar-yuan, the dollar is rallying against the yuan. So it's a big negative for China across the board. Now, if I just give you a look at the majors here, you'll see what I'm talking about. It should be the same on your charts. Okay, so as I said, bit of a risk-off situation that it's created a little bit of tension. So momentum is up, right? When there's a risk-off situation, the Dow Jones was down 1.3%. It's not massive, but it's enough to really confront that upward momentum. And looks like it's finally sliding to the downside. Now, this upward move is still in play, right, until it breaks down through 70.40. So don't think this is going to collapse just yet. We have to see a bigger move. And same on the Kiwi. You're probably looking at this, the main primary support line, not this little one, around closer to 66 the figure. Here's dollar yen, right? Now, this is, to me, all that US-China situation. It's going to be a bigger fight this time. China have come out and retaliated. They've got the Hong Kong issue, and they're creating not enemies, but a lot of hostility with a lot of countries. Especially the UK and Hong Kong, obviously. So what the Euro's still biding its time. It's the one pair out of all of them that has very clear direction, right? What we are seeing, sterling's hanging in there as well. And you'll be making sure you adjust your trend lines to these new lows that we're seeing throughout the day. So let me just clear the charts. I mean, you should be doing this on a daily basis. Now, I usually leave my trend lines there so you can see what's been happening with the price action. So like down here on the Euro, okay, this is once again a short-term trend line. This is going to be the first level of support around 79, main support down here at 114.90. So as you can see, we've got these really short-term support trend lines coming into play. They aren't super strong, right? But they are indicative of the current price action. So what that gives us is each of these currencies a fair bit of room to move on the downside should the Dow Jones have a big negative day again, right? If it bounces back, I think we'll see these pairs just come back. So what we've got is clear dollar direction and really good trading conditions. Keep an eye on the Dow Jones during that North American session. That's going to be the key to this. Dollar yen, well, that's going to be driven by geopolitical news, US, China, okay? As the more that China retaliates, the more the yen will rally. And that obviously means dollar yen lower. What's getting a little bit tricky is dollar CAD. Now, it's sort of drifting back into the range on the daily charts. It's a little bit messy. Oil was over 42 bucks. Now it's back to sort of 41. It's going to put a bit of upward pressure on dollar CAD as well. So that's a little bit trickier as we go forward. Now, if I just bring you back to our daily market insight page and give you a bit of a wrap up. Okay, trading conditions are pretty good. So don't get put off. I mean, trading conditions over the last months have been up and down, average at best. At the moment, they are very good. And that's because we've got that clear dollar direction. So the fact that the Dow is creating a risk-off situation gives us clear direction to trade from. If it bounces, you'd expect Aussie and Kiwi in particular to rally. If it goes down further, well, then we've got trend lines to sell Aussie and Kiwi in particular. You probably even see Euro drift off as well. So on the short-term perspective, all pairs have direction, but longer term, I'm not really looking at dollar yen and dollar CAD just yet. They're just still within recent ranges. The rest of the pairs are definitely on the cards. But don't forget, Friday, square up day. It's before the weekend. You might see some squaring up. To me, it's really going to come back down to the first initial move on the Dow over that first hour. If it gets hit, well, these pairs are going to come off and we'll see some retracements from those moves we've seen already all week. If the Dow Jones rallies, well, I think we'll see these pairs slowly drift higher, but I still think we'll see profit taking into the weekend, right? Hopefully next week's as good as this, because once we have clear dollar direction, we've got pretty good trading conditions. Data-wise, to get some, actually, this is a pretty good point. Check out the European data, right? Keep an eye on that as you come into that European session. Euro has had a bit of an upward bias, right? To me, if these numbers are weak, it's already drifting lower and there's a risk-off scenario. If this data is weak, we might see a good opportunity to sell down through 115.80, right? That's that short-term support line. It's not as strong as the slightly longer-term ones. So make sure you check that out. Sterling, well, that's anyone's guess. I'm not going to be really jumping in front of the screens for that one. You've also got some flash manufacturing numbers out of the US. Well, you know what? It'll be all said and done by then. Keep an eye on the Dow Jones. All right, guys, have a good trade day. Have a good weekend. Cheerio.